Alright, on 29 September 2022, near to midnight, I got notified that the Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, Ministry of National Development, MND, and Housing and Development Board, HDB, jointly have a press release named Measures to Promote Sustainable Conditions in the Property Market by Ensuring Prudent Borrowing and Moderating Demand. There are 17 points in the press release that will have broad-based effect on current and future property trends that buyers and sellers need to take note of. We will be discussing in this video what is the important changes and points to note in this new cooling measure, who will it impact the most, and also what impact will it entails. Home Quarters 2 cents on the new cooling measure set in place will also be discussed at the end. Hi everyone, my name is Casey from Home Quarters. Without further ado, let's dive right in. I will be summarizing the 17 points press release to just 3 points: reduction in the amount of loan given, loan to value, and lastly the new wait out period of 15 months for private to HDB right sizing. Folks, this will affect HDB, private residential properties, and even commercial and industrial properties, sales and purchase. So listen up. The benchmark interest rate used to calculate the amount of loan is raised by 0.5% from 3.5% to 4% for residential property and from 4.5% to 5% for non-residential property such as commercial and industrial units. This will reduce the amount of loan given out by the bank. For example, for a $2 million residential property, if the audience are taking a full 75% loan of $1.5 million across 30 years, there will be a $90,000 reduction in loan amount when the benchmark rate is increased by 0.5%. For a $600,000 HDB resale flat, taking a full 75% loan from the bank for 25 years, there will be a $24,000 reduction in loan amount with the increase. So when will this take effect? Immediately. This will affect and apply to loan for the purchase of property where the OTP, option to purchase, is granted on or after 30th September 2022, or when there is no OTP, the date of the sales and purchase agreement is on or after 30th September 2022. Of course, the actual interest rate charged for mortgage will continue to be determined by the bank. Next up, our HDB loan. The benchmark rate will increase to 3% or 0.1% plus the ordinary account rate, whichever is higher, up from the previous CPF OA rate plus 0.1%. At the time of filming, the CPF OA rate is at 2.5% and thus the benchmark rate previously stands at 2.6%. This means that the HDB loan amount will be reduced. When will it be implemented? Again, immediately. This will apply to fresh application for a HDB loan eligibility HLE letter received on or after 30th September 2022, 0000 hours. There will be no impact to existing HLE application received by HDB before this time. Right, do note that this will not affect the actual HDB concessionary interest rate, which will remain unchanged at 2.6% per annum. Next, for the audience that are taking the HDB housing loan, your loan to valuation, right, or LTV, has dropped from 85% to 80%. When will it be in fact? Again, you guessed it right, immediately. I quote, the lower LTV limit will apply to new flat application for sales, exercise launch, and complete resale application which are received by HDB on or after 30th September 2022. Lastly, and this is a big one, HDB will impose a wait out period of 15 months for current private property owners and past private property owners that are buying a non-subsidized HDB resale flat. One exception is that the wait out period will not apply to senior age 55 and above and their spouses who are moving from their private property to a 4-room or smaller resale flat. We have also called HDB to find out what about the in-between transaction that has yet to be submitted. The hotline has replied that the cut-off is by the resale submission date. So you will be affected even if you have previously sold a private property before 30th September 2022, exercised on a HDB unit, but both the HDB buyer and seller have not completed the resale application. Also, do note that it is a temporary measure which will be reviewed in the future depending on the overall market condition and housing demand. Here at Home Quarters, we feel that this round of cooling measure is to let off some steam of the pent-up demand in the property market and also reduce the private property owner that have profited in this current market to then use the profit to purchase resale HDB at high prices or high cash over valuation prices. But the cooling measures are not stopping genuine sellers that are right sizing for retirement needs. HDB LTV reduction should not have a huge impact to most HDB buyers as they most likely will have CPF grant up to $80,000 when buying a subsidized flat direct from the HDB, or up to $160,000 when buying a resale flat, and also CPF saving that will cover more than 20% of the purchase price. The increment of the benchmark rate has been predicted previously by us as well, so that came as no surprise with the current increasing interest rate environment. To dive deeper on how this cooling measure affects your property plan to sell or purchase, and if this presents an investment opportunity, do reach out to us at 8809-2889 or go to our website homequarters.com.sg. My name is Casey from Home Quarters. Subscribe, follow and like us on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook at Home Quarters SG. And remember, call Home Quarters and start packing.